Money on my mind, looking for a dime. James Lock in the house, gonna help you shine.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Pool Lock YouTube channel. I'm James Lock. Today we're going to answer some Ask James questions of the day. First question from Shannon. She says, I'm a teacher, but education is really not what it used to be. And honestly, I'm not sure what I can do as a career. I think I'm ready to retire, but my husband will have to work for a longer period of time. Shannon, I just can't tell you how many times I've heard this from teachers today, right? Education is not what it used to be. Kids are different. Of course, we always say that, right? Every generation before has probably said that kids were different, when we were kids too, right? But it does change over time. And I know teachers' hands are more tied now in terms of what they can do to protect themselves. So I get the frustration completely. Education is one of those tough career situations because it's one of those fields where you can't really pivot mid-career. It's not easy to do. It's like, what else you're going to do if you're a teacher right now, right? Now, maybe if you have a specialty topic, maybe you're a college professor, you might be able to go back to the private sector and work and do that specialized work. But if you're a teacher in grammar school, middle school, you probably can't. You don't have an obvious alternative path that utilizes your skills the same way. So if you've exhausted your alternatives in things that you might enjoy more, and those simply are not realistic possibilities for you anymore, and if you're that miserable in your current situation, then I guess the real issue becomes, how does your husband feel about this? Is he okay with it? Is he okay working a little bit longer while you transition into retirement? And how much longer will it actually be? Is it 2 years longer, 4 years longer, 10 years longer? Now, from an income investing perspective, this is where you need to get really strategic about building a portfolio that can bridge that gap. If you're looking at retiring before your husband, you'll need investments that can generate consistent income to replace your teaching salary. This might mean focusing on dividend-paying stocks, REITs, bond ladders that can provide that steady cash flow that you'll need during those transitional years. The key is understanding exactly how much income you'll need to replace and for how long. Now, teachers often have pension benefits, but those might not kick in immediately. So you'll want to look at creating what I call an income bridge, right? Investments specifically designed to generate the cash flow you need until your husband retires and your combined retirement benefits fully kick in. Don't forget to look at kind of the hard numbers to know if you are financially ready or how far you are from retirement financially speaking. You'll want to know, you got to need to focus, right, on income generating strategies that can make it that early retirement possible, even when your spouse is continuing to work. But assuming that you're within a reasonable time frame financially, and assuming that your husband is on the same page and he loves you first and foremost, and therefore he's willing to work a few more years, if that's what it takes to free you up today, well then, as long as that's the case and you're both going into this decision with your eyes wide open, then there's no problem with it. The most important thing is working it out between the two of you and making sure your financial plan supports both of your goals. It's a great question. As always, if you would like to send in your question, you can do so. You can email them to poollock@poollock.com. Let's go on to our second question. We have this email from Janet. And she says, my husband and I want to retire early, and we think we're ready, and we think we have saved enough, but how can we really be sure? All right, Janet, well, of course, the first part is, everything we're always talking about, right? Making sure that you're moving towards something meaningful. Make sure you know what retirement actually looks like day to day. Now, it sounds like you've planned for this for a while, so you probably have a good sense of it. But be absolutely sure. Don't just assume it. I've had people who wanted to retire early and for a long time, and they retired. And after a year, they found out they're absolutely miserable and end up back in the workforce because early retirement sounded appealing, but they didn't really plan what retirement's going to look like on a practical level. So don't forget that crucial foundation part. But now we get to the money part, and you're probably asking, about the lump sum question. Okay, how much do I need to have in total savings? Because that's what most people think about when they ask, do I have enough to retire? Is how much money do I have in all of my retirement accounts combined? You have to flip that thinking and focus on how much income you need and want in retirement. This breaks down into your I need goals versus your I want goals, which is how much income you absolutely need to live the same basic lifestyle you have today versus how much you want for all those retirement dreams. The easiest way to calculate that baseline I need number is to start with your current income and subtract all the expenses that are going to take away when you retire. Things like saving money in your 401k, which you won't be doing, obviously, when you're retired. Maybe you have a mortgage payment that you plan to you have that house paid off. You get rid of those FICA taxes that retirees don't pay on certain types of income. You subtract all those expenses naturally disappearing in retirement, any forced savings, work-related expenses, unnecessary spending that was, just habit while working. And when you do that calculation, you'll get down to this. This is the amount of income that I need in retirement to live the same basic lifestyle that I have today. And, same lifestyle you have today, just without the work, of course. But here's where it gets interesting. More time on your hands means you're going to do, more of what you want, those things in retirement. More activities, more travel, more hobbies, more experiences. More things means you're going to want to spend more money to fund those activities. So now you have to figure out, how much do I, increase that baseline? That I need income to reach my I want income goal, to be able to do all of the extra things that are part of that retirement dream. And this is where income investing becomes absolutely critical, because you're not just looking at preserving the lump sum, you're looking at creating sustainable cash flow that can support both your needs and your wants for potentially 30 or 40 years. Now, when we talk about income investing for early retirement, we're talking about building a portfolio that can generate consistent, reliable income streams. This might include dividend-focused stocks, REITs, bond ladders, maybe rental real estate, right? Investments specifically chosen not just for growth, but for their ability to produce the cash flow that you'll need month after month after month, year after year. So that's just the first critical step, finding out exactly how much income you'll need to live the same lifestyle you have today, and then how much additional income you want to fund all those extra activities and expenses that are going to fill up all the extra time on your hands. Once you know those income targets, then we can work backwards to figure out what kind of investment portfolio you need to generate that sustainable income stream. Great questions today. If you have a question, like Janet did, you can email them to poollock@poollock.com. And if you like what you heard today, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. I'm James Locke, your retirement income source. We'll see everyone next time.
Money on my mind, looking for a dime. James Locke in the house, gonna help you shine. Retirement is near, don't you live in fear. Listen up, my friend, let me make it clear. Savings in the bank.